there are enemies to superhumans, but most of the time it's not another person like in the fiction world. It's more often a government or another country. Since the superhuman arises from the society and the situation, it's many times it's the society itself or another society that is the enemy of the superhuman. It's true for Adolf Hitler. His own society was, totally off according to his ideas, and he decided that it was, wrong, and that his enemy was the German society at that point. And then he changed it, and it became another society, the Jewish community, to be more specific. Absolutely. They not only save us from ourselves, from society, from, evildoers, but at times the things they represent give the average person a framework for the life and the choices that they should make. They are kind of moral examples for us to some extent. They're a representation of the extremes of society, good or evil, crazy or intelligent, sane, insane. The list goes on. They show us the boundaries, where they are, and when we should push those boundaries. They police the borders of the possible, but at times they show us the borders and coax us in so that we can push those borders. I believe that pushing the boundaries of the social contract, and even to some extent rejecting it, is a very important part of becoming a real-life superhuman. If they don't completely leave the social contract, they'll at least criticize and question it. For example, George Carlin is a normal man, but when he does get up and speak in front of people, he criticizes the way society is, the way the social contract is, and, kind of, in a funny way, proposes things that should change within the social contract. After all, if they were in the social contract just like everybody else, what would be so unique about it? They would, to some extent, if they were just satisfied with the way everything was, and they didn't challenge the way society is, they would be really super, because they would just be like you and me. The fear of the superhuman does exist in real life, and the desire also exists. If people who were in the time period, and even people today, are terrified of people like Hitler, there are many who would admit that, and there are also just as many people that think that it would be kind of cool to experience what Hitler experienced. I mean, being as powerful really as one can conceive to be, so powerful that you can order the death of millions of people and no one would bat an eye. And the same goes for a person like Charles Manson. The man was scary, but actually having people believe that you were a divine being would be pretty interesting. I mean, to be honest, I kind of wouldn't mind having people admire you that much. But there are fears, and although maybe not as intense as the fears that are within the fictional world, we definitely have them, and we desire to feel what the people are feeling. The people in Spider-Man had to be much more fearful of, the Spider-Man himself actually coming into your house and, tying you up in a web and stealing all your money. You can't really do anything about that. But, they still wanted to be able to climb walls and swim in the city. And it's the same thing now. Even though Che Guevara scared the living daylights out of so many people in the United States, you can almost imagine sitting in the jungle, sweating and planning your attack on Havana, and just knowing in your mind, in his mind, that you are doing the right thing, freeing so many people. And it's kind of a cool sense to have, even though many people are afraid. Although the world is not teeming with mutants who can turn into metal, walk through walls, heal themselves at extraordinary rates, there are some pretty interesting things in the field of biology these days. Theoretically, if a gene exists in a species, that gene can be extracted from the cells of the species that it is in, and it can be injected into the cells of another species, even humans. I know this sounds like something straight out of Spider-Man comic, but it actually does exist. They have been able to make rats see in color just like humans, and other experiments that they've been working on in order to improve animals, taking traits and changing them from species to species. You can only imagine being a person that can see it in the night, or that has super speed or super agility. Somebody there's countless things that you can imagine people having that this would benefit. But this can also be done from human to human. If you were to take, Einstein's skin cells and you injected those genes into like an embryo, the result would be partially Einstein. These genetic things can be at some point used to treat an illness or disabilities, but there's really no question that science is coming closer and is messing with the boundaries of superhumanism. But the real question that remains, I guess, is human alteration ethical? And nobody really knows at this point, and so I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
That would be a very personal question, and that would be very interesting to ask an individual. For some people, being able to escape from their current life, they would give up anything that they could do to escape, be free. Where other people, after losing it, will realize just how important their previous life was and regret it. Which is why in most situations you have superhumans that are masked, they stay hidden, so they can still live this life of freedom, but can return at the end of the day or at the end of the night to their previous life.